Amen. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to start this lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rechak Kodash. Next is double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Salutations unto the 144,000 doing the work of the Lord in all truth, honor, and sincerity. Shalom to the 1/3, men, women, and children who believe in this word being taught unto them. It's your brother Amla wa Allah, back at you with another video entitled Don't Say We Didn't Warn You, because that's what we have been instructed to do. So that when these perilous times come upon us, in which we are in the midst of perilous times being brought upon us, you can't go under the notion of, oh, you didn't know. No one told you, you didn't hear of this, wherever the case may be. Because the Lord has had his prophets out there on the highways and the byways to let you know what the deal is. And a lot of you mocked, scoffed, didn't take it seriously. And what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself in some very unfortunate circumstances. All right. It says in 2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Now let's go into that word perilous and see what it says. Chalipo.
Strong's G 5467. Chalipas. Chalipas.
Look at that. Hard to do, to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage, and the draconian measures that Esau Edom is getting ready to come down with is going to be hard to bear, hard to do, hard to take, hard to approach, troublesome, dangerous, okay? All just uncomfortable situations, but that's just how it's going to go, all right? And it said that in the last days, perilous times shall come. Let's see what it says in the NLT or just other Bible versions. All right, NLT says, you should know this, Timothy, that in the last days, there will be very difficult times. NIV, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. So we, as the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, we ain't sugarcoating nothing. We're letting the people them know it, to be exactly how it is. We're coming with the straight and skinny. None of this filtered shit. None of this, softening the blow. We coming straight with it, man. ESV. But understand this, in the last days there will come times of difficulty. CSB. But notice, hard times will come in the last days. All right? You get AMP, but understand this, that in the last days, dangerous times of great stress and trouble will come. Difficult days that will be hard to bear. You don't know where your next meal's going to come from. You don't know if that paycheck's going to last you the whole month. You deciding whether you keep the lights on or you put the fuel in the car. You decide not now, here it is. You eat 7, 8, 9 times a day. Now you doing OMAD, involuntary, but because you can't afford it no more. Because OMAD's not actually bad. If you eat, if in that meal it's nutrient dense, it has everything you need and whatever, it's not bad. But you need to understand that people got a spirit of gluttony on them, man. So it's like, to be in that position, to now your belly's touching your back, shit. All right, so these are the times that are upon us, man. Okay, so I just came across this article today on the People's Voice, and it says Gil Bates, insider, admits data centers built to kill and replace 200 million Americans by 2030, and that's 4 years away, bro. 3.5 years, call it. It's May. It's gonna be June in like what, just over 2 weeks. So that will be, imagine that, we're already halfway through 2026. Can you imagine that, bro? We're already halfway through 2026, man. You can't say these prophecies aren't being fulfilled, man. That's Matthew 24 and 22. Talks about how the Lord gonna speed up the days, man, for the sake of the elect. So if you're ever feeling like you ain't worth anything, if you're of the elect, man, just remember the Lord is which we don't know for sure, but we say we're of the elect in faith, in hopes that we are. All right. So if you're of the elect, just understand that the power of heaven and earth, right, is shortening the days for your sake. If you ever feel like you ain't nobody, you ain't shit, just remember that. So yeah, in Psalm 64, just one more thing as well, talks about how their own tongue shall fall upon themselves, man. Because it says here how Gil Bates Insider is the one that's coming out with it, talking about these data centers are built to kill and replace 200 million Americans by 2030. And, they're incorporating, let me read this first bit first, and then I'll say what I've got to say. A data center insider has come forward with horrifying revelations about the AI mega facilities rising across the country. These aren't harmless tech campuses powering the planet. They are command centers for a globalist system of surveillance and control beyond anything humanity has ever seen. And, I work a corporate job myself, and, they're integrating AI into the job, into the corporate world so much that it's like, as an employee, I can see how we'll just eventually get funneled out the system. Well, we don't need you guys anymore. AI can do it. Because the thing is as well, they're pushing for us to utilize these AI systems, like Copilot, for example. And it's like, I'll be honest, man, I pretty much be getting Copilot to do most of my work. But it's like, I'm thinking to myself, it's like, bro, why are they gonna need humans? Because eventually, if they can just, do what they need to do in the background, whatever. I'm not an IT guy, so I can't get the terminology, but whatever. Then what's going to be the use for like a human to prompt AI to do it when they can just kind of code it into the system for AI to just do it autonomously? So I can see how humans are going to get phased out of the whole working environment, and then where there's gonna, and even when you look at like retail, you got your self checkouts and that now, just all them, everything is just automated now, so soon when they're giving you your walking papers, like, look, man, see you later, man. I'll be surprised if people are shocked. Like, see, people are simple. Oh, AI, yeah, makes the job easier, yeah, until they don't need your ass no more, and then they're slapping you on the UBI, the universal basic income. All right. Says the insider claims the architecture being built inside these compounds will make the surveillance state of modern day China look primitive by comparison. And I can't remember, man. There was a video I was watching last night, and one of these devils, hopefully, one of you brothers that are watching may know who I'm talking about, and you can put it in the comments or something, man. One of these devils literally said how China's digital system is like a role model for how, the rest of the world is to be. And, China's all got the social credit score system, a very intense surveillance country, things of that nature. And it's like, you pretty much got to be on the grid to survive in China. You ain't doing that off the grid living, man. And that's like the world that they're trying to push globally, because even that, they're phasing out the combustion engine cars, petrol, diesel, pushing for electric cars, which, that's nothing to do with saving the planet, because how is even the way electricity is formed, that can contribute to pollution. So, that contributes majorly to pollution. And then another thing as well is, these combustion engine cars, you can scrap them, take them to the scrap. Electric vehicles, not so much, because you got these big ass lithium batteries that need to be disposed of in a particular type of way, and blah blah, and they're not as reliable, they're not as sustainable as some of these more well-to-do combustion engine vehicles. And also, there's another point I wanted to make and it slipped my mind. I was gonna say, yeah, these electric vehicles are pretty much just microwaves on wheels. You're exposing yourself to a hell of a lot of radiation just riding around in an electric vehicle. All right. So it says vast AI networks tracking entire populations in real time, because Esau ultimately thinks he's God. All right. He's trying to be like the Most High, but he can't be. The thing about Esau is that he can never be like the Most High. He can never even come close. But the fact that this nigga needs electricity just to be like the Most High, this is like, if you just have a kill switch, you can literally strip all his power, man. Because all this AI, data centers, 6G towers, and this beast system, what does it need to function? It needs electricity. It needs a grid, an electrical grid. If you can just compromise that electrical grid, that's their power gone. So what kind of God are you, bro? Where I can just, hack into your shit, kill switch you basically, and then you just have no power. You ain't no God no more. You see? A machine designed, hold on a minute. Total biometric surveillance, predictive behavior analysis. And they gave you that in what's that Tom Cruise film? Minority Report. I remember watching that in my English class back in year 8, or the Americans would say the 8th grade. That was a good film, man, and that was foreshadowing, because it's talking about what predictive behavior analysis. Because Minority Report was all about what pre-crime, and they stopped crime before it happened. Okay. Financial monitoring. You get a parking ticket, you get a fine. Oh fuck that, I ain't paying it. You get the letters coming through the door, you just rip it up, you throw it away. Yeah, those days are over, buddy. They gon' locate you digitally, and they gon' deduct it automatically. So it's not, oh yeah, but actually I need to use that money to pay for this. Nigga, that money gone, man. Total, as Alex Jones said, total control. That's what these devils are after, man. They want to try and make it seem like they got your best interest at heart, because they're just, like Gil Bates, he's known as a philanthropist, they're a humanitarian. They ain't got your best interest at heart, bro. Psychological profiling, a machine designed not just to watch humanity, but to police, manipulate, and control it algorithmic. Jeez, these words. Algorithmically. Gee. And they pretty much do that now. There's certain people that you go for the job interview and, you tell me like, oh yeah, why do you want this job? Tell me about the company, yeah, all of that stuff. And then you can ace the interview. You got the interview, you smashed it, and then they're getting the call back and they're talking about, they can't take you on because they went on your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever, and they saw you, I don't know, on holiday in Ibiza snorting coke or something. I don't know, just some wild shit. So it's like, and the thing is as well, like you could still be fully capable of doing the job and that, but then outside of work hours, you're just a bit of a wild card. But you know, this is this is society now, man. You can't really. That's why it's like you gotta be careful. You gotta be mindful of your digital footprint, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything's online, and once something's there, it don't matter if you delete it, man. Someone could save it on their device, whatever, and it's always gonna be out there in the cloud. So it's like just watch your digital footprint. Argument, Arquath. It says, and according to the whistleblower, the elites building this system are preparing to perpetrate crimes against humanity on a scale the world has never witnessed. See, these people are gonna learn, you know, who who's really controlling this world, man. Because people been walking around blind for too long, and they don't want to accept the truth, man. But this is just what it is. 2 Corinthians 4:3 says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world are at lowercase g. And who's the God of this world? Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Revelation 20, this devil has been loosed a little season. But guess what? He's coming to the end of that season now. We're witnessing this devil come to the end of his little season. So it says, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them that believe not. All right. Lest the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine onto them. And for a lot of people, that hasn't shone onto them. Okay. They're going to find out who the God of this world is. All right. Back to the article. It says, so yeah, to perpetrate crimes against humanity on a scale the world has never witnessed. You're going to have people put to death over a post on Instagram, over a tweet they made on X, over a text message they sent. Because when you read the next line, what does it say? It says, because this isn't just about controlling the population, it's about depopulating it. Remember on the Georgia Guidestones, man, it says to maintain a population of under 500 million. And this devil Gil Bates has already said in a TED talk some years ago that, through healthcare, crack scenes, and things of that nature, they can help reduce the population by 10-12%. He didn't say help increase the population by 10-12%. He said reduce the population by 10-12%. And these people are so blind. No one thought like, did you just hear what this nigga said? Through healthcare, vaccinations, and yada yada yada, we can reduce the world's population by 10-12%. So now, the place you're meant to go to be recovered when you're sick, when you're through and your health is not the best, that's actually the place where they're looking to kill you, man. They're looking to get rid of you. They're looking to make you a statistic, make you a part of that percentage. You see? The only question the globalists are asking is who survives the coming collapse and who remains behind as obedient slaves inside the digital concentration camp they're building. And this is the thing, man. The only position that the majority of people in this world are going to have to play is the role of the slave. People think that we have this stance because, yeah, but it's like, bro, Esau is bringing back slavery in a very big way, under this beast system. But guess what? Under Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai and the elect and the rest of the nation of Israel on down, we bringing back slavery in an even bigger way, man, and in a completely divine and righteous way. Okay, real quick, let's get this. Second Thessalonians 1, And verse 6 reads, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So when we stick our foot up your arse's sideways, or we tear you a new arsehole, right? We're going to be completely justified. It's not going to be wicked. It's going to be completely righteous. Let me read that one more time. 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing it is a righteous, not a wicked, it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And who is the one that troubles us the most? None other than these devils, man. To reduce the world population by 10 to 12%. Like the things that they just say is just crazy, you know. These data centers now to kill and replace 200 million Americans by 2030. So look, man, in 4 years or in 3.5 years, really, they're trying to reduce the American population by at least 200 million. See, this man is a death man, and he can't be satisfied at all. And this is why, you know, he that letteth will let until he be taken out of the way, man. The Heavenly Father gonna have to take this devil out of the way through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. All right. So let's get back to the article, because I could read some more verses, but I want to get through this article as well. I might not read it all. Let's see. The only question the globalists are asking is who survives the coming collapse and who remains behind as obedient slaves inside the digital concentration camp they're building. You still think the data centers are there to store family photos, emails, and streaming videos? That's the bait and switch they're feeding the public while something far darker is being built behind the curtain. Something far darker is being built behind the curtain, man. Whilst you still think that this devil is all about love, you know, he's all about he's a changed devil, you know, he's not who he used to be back then, and all of this crap. This devil's about to show you he's about to show you why Sirach 12:10 says to never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, meaning that his wickedness will always come forth eventually. You know, his wickedness always shines through, because you know he was created to be the wicked. The New World Order never disappeared. It just stopped announcing itself and went digital. Across the country, enormous concrete fortresses, many times larger than Manhattan, are rising out of farmland at unbelievable speed. Entire communities are being transformed into industrial AI zones. Power grids are being expanded for them. Water supplies are being drained for them. Small towns are suddenly surrounded by these gigantic facilities, humming day and night like mechanical cities, man. And imagine all that all that data, all that, you know, the fastness of the transmission of data as well, the AI aspect of it, all of that stuff. It's you know, that's emitting a lot of what do you call it, man? Is it EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, man? That's putting that all in the air, exposing you to a ridiculous amount of radiation. Okay, and it's like these people are being radiated to death. So not only you're surrounded by that in the cities and whatnot, then you go hop in your electric car and you just sitting in a microwave, and you wondering why you feel off, you can't remember this, you getting cancer, this, that, blah, blah. Right, the list is endless, man. The scriptures say, hold on a minute. Bear me a second. Right, this is second Esdras 14 and oh no, what am I talking about, man? Sirach 14, that's what I need. Right, Sirach 14 and 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his own goods. And what you gotta understand about these devils is that ultimately they they're the harbingers of death. They ain't good to themselves, man. So how do you expect a devil to be a humanitarian, a philanthropist, all these fucking technical terms? It's just like, come on, man. That's crazy. It says in verse 6, there's none worse than he that envieth himself. That is a recompense of his own wickedness, man. And the fact that they have to look at themselves and they see that they don't have that pigment. Their blood shows fall through the skin. They're getting sunburnt. All of these things, man. Just like amongst many other things. I'm just talking in the physical sense at the minute, but it's all a recompense of his wickedness, man. But they hate him. They hate how they look, bro. Edomites hate how they look. When they see a Jake, melanin, nice skin, nice build, whatever, they hate that shit, man. Because they know that even how they look is off. You're not meant to look like that, bro. The way they act is off. The way they think is off. They know this, but that's how they're designed to be. And that's a recompense of his wickedness, man. Verse 7, and if he doeth good, you always gotta be you always gotta, keep your spidey senses on when an Edomite's being good. That's a scary sight. Edomite being good, there's either one or two things. Either he a tear, he a Jake, he a, what do you call it? Just a Jake covered in that. I can't even say that. That's gonna sound like a big white. He's just a Milky Way Jake. Let's say it that way, right? Or you extra got to be scared because he plotting, man. Because the scriptures say at the last he will declare his wickedness. I think that's in the 12th chapter. So, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Oh yeah, he's such a friendly devil. He could just help me. Remember, he's doing it unwillingly. Oh, actually says it here, right? And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. So you can never trust these people, man. Oh yeah, we just want to stick a MOTB inside you for your safety. In which King Charles, by the way, he said that we're going to be moving towards digital IDs and stuff, and change the way we interact with public services. Oh yeah, can I have your ID? No, can you just wave your hand, please? Boop. You don't need to pull your phone out for the Apple Pay or the Android Pay. It's not. It's just going to be in your hand. And they're going to sell this MOTB system under the notion of convenience. You might lose your keys, you might lose your wallet. I recently lost my wallet, and the spirit added to Zawadi Halbashim. A Jake lady, she came all the way from town to my house, and I live quite far from the town where I'm at. About 25, maybe 30-minute drive, a bit longer on public transport, maybe 45 plus. And she came to my house, and she dropped my wallet. But you see, those issues are going to be mitigated once you've got the MOTB in place, because everything is going to be digital, everything's going to be electronic, programmable money. That's where you ain't going to be able to run away from paying certain fines or certain bills. No, that will be automatically deducted, man. Programmable money is going to be the worst thing that happens to these everyday average citizens, man. You can't avoid shit, So it says the New World Order never disappeared. It just stopped announcing itself and went digital, right? Because the whole infrastructure has been built and is being built right under people's noses. But because people don't understand the science to look out for, or because these devils are operating in a more gradualistic, you know, kind of way, the people it's a bit like when you're cooking the frog, right? The frog don't really realize that it's being cooked until the very last minute when it's all too late. You know, just turn that temperature up slowly, turn it up slowly. Next thing you know, the frog's out of there. These people are being treated like frogs. All right. It says across the country, enormous concrete fortresses, many times larger than Manhattan, are rising out of farmland at unbelievable speed. Entire communities are being transformed into industrial AI zones. Power grids are being expanded for them. Water supplies are being drained for them. Small towns are suddenly surrounded by these gigantic facilities, humming day and night like mechanical cities. And behind these data centers stand the usual suspects: Gil Bates, BlackRock, Palantir. And they're racing to build these data centers before the public fully realizes what's unfolding right in front of them. Why? Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. These devils know that they've got a short time, man. And that's why they're moving in haste. Okay? Because at the same time, they see the signs in the heavens, you know, the chariots, you know, more and more be coming out on the chariots. They're seeing the righteous men standing in great boldness, you know, in front of those that made no account for their labors. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. You know, you got the prophets out there on the highways and the byways, on the various streaming platforms, preaching and prophesying the downfall of their kingdom. You've got your average Joes waking up now. You know, when Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, said, you know, they're gonna you're gonna have to, you know, get the digital ID and stuff. You ain't gonna be able to work and this, that. You know, you had a massive petition, right, on the government website, and you had so many. Yeah, this was in January, right? Yeah, to 9th of January. It closed. The petition closed on the 9th of January of this year, 2026. And Keir Starmer kind of went back on his word, saying, no, you won't be forced to do it, or blah, 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 some shit. But he kind of went back on himself. And then here we are, like 5 months later, or 4 months later. And look what you have. Look what King Charles is coming out with now. All right. So you actually had under 3 million signatures. And the target goal was 100,000. But you had under 3 million signed it. So, you know, Esau is going to face quite a bit of resistance trying to implement this beast system. But, you know, he's still going to go forward with it anyway. And it's going to take drastic measures, like, you know, they're bringing back the guillotine. You know, you don't want to get down with the program, your head gets chopped off, because at first it's going to be voluntary, then it's going to be compulsory, mandatory, and then you can't live unless you get it. Like, you know, that's the type of timing Esau's on. All right, so it says BlackRock's Larry Fink understands what will happen when the public wakes up. That's why he's preemptively accusing any American who fights back of being a what? A domestic terrorist. So when you deep it, we fit this category. Those of us who do these videos, who go out on the highways and the byways, and even those of you that subscribe onto us, man, and follow what we coming out with, we're on this list, man. We are known as domestic terrorists because we're preaching against this digital system. All right. So what Esau has to do is they have to take control of the narrative, and they have to paint us in a bad light. That's why when you read Second Esdras, the 16th chapter, it talks about how there will be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. All right, let's look up the meaning of the word insurrection. All right, it says an insurrection is an organized and usually violent uprising against an established government or governing authority. And we're, as the elect, we're pretty much the government of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Because the Yahweh Shai and then 144,000, they're going to be the new governing body of the whole entire universe. All right, and the insurrection is going to be upon us, and of course the great multitude, those that subscribe unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So it says an insurrection is an organized and usually violent uprising against an established government or governing authority. So they're gonna come up against us, man. All right, and it's gonna be in a major way. Let's read some more. It says key characteristics. It says organized action. Unlike a spontaneous riot, an insurrection usually involves a degree of planning, leadership, or coordinated movement. So when you come back to this, it says BlackRock's Larry Fink understands what will happen when the public wakes up. That's why he preemptively accusing any American who fights back of being a domestic terrorist. So we're fighting back through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, through these scriptures, through this word. Okay, so but it says he preemptively is doing it. Let's look up the word preemptive. It says means taking action in advance. All right, this is what they're doing in advance to prevent an anticipated situation, forestall an event, or secure a priority before others can act. So let's go back to insurrection. Organized action. Unlike a spontaneous riot, an insurrection usually involves a degree of planning, leadership, or coordinated event. Violence. It is typically characterized by the use of force or armed resistance. Goal. The primary objective is to resist, subvert, or overthrow civil or political authority. Well, they're trying to overthrow the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that the prophets are coming with. But hey, let's go back to the scriptures, man. This is the book of Acts chapter 5 and 38. It says, and now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. And this work that we're doing, this counsel, is not of men. This is of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Therefore, it won't come to naught. It says, but if it be of the Most High, ye cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against the Most High. And that's literally what these devils are going to do. They're going to fight against the Most High because they're that prideful. That's why in Revelation 12, it talks about how Michael and his angels fought the dragon and his angels, and the dragon and his angels prevailed not. Esau and his military fighters, they're going to lose against Yahweh Shai and them chariots, man. You see? So let's get back to the article. It says, before you take him at face value, you should be aware. Think went on the record calling for mass depopulation in Western countries to elevate the elite's standard of living. And that's just what they are, man. They rather put like what 200 million plus people to death just to what? Elevate the elite's standard of living. And these are the people that you've got in power, man. So don't ever, hey man, even you devils, man. You devils need to, I'm talking about you lesser illuminaries, your average Joe Edomites, right? You need to, you know, keep your head on the swivel as well with your own leaders, man. Because really, you two-time losers. You ain't got it like that on this side how you should. And then you just going into slavery, bro. Like, it's dark. Then there's Gil Bates. Mr. Depopulation himself spent the last decade quietly buying up massive stretches of farmland for reasons nobody could fully explain at the time. Oh, but he's a philanthropist, as he likes to call himself, or as he's known as. But now the pattern is impossible to ignore. Whether Gates' land holdings expanded, data centers followed. Oh, hold on, but now the pattern is impossible to ignore, Salakia. Wherever Gates' land holdings expanded, data centers followed. So they had this plan in motion, man. Says you niggas, you people of the world are just too slow to see it. You look like this information is coming out here. I could leave my house right now and I can have a conversation with 5 people and I can tell them about this. And you know what? I tell you, oh, do you know about it? Oh, I don't know. What's that? Huh? These people are through, man. Farmers are being evicted from the land, and family homes are now being seized for the globalist project. We are not talking about a dystopian future. This is happening right now. All that, oh yeah, 10 years time, bro. People talking about Agenda 2030. Like 2030 was 300 years later, bro. 2030 is 3.5 years later, 3.5 years away, bro. And we're already almost halfway into the year of 2026. And 2026 just came about, bro. 2026 just started and we're already halfway through. So we going, before you know it, going to 2030, if we even still here by 2030. So like that's 3.5 years. That's months away, bro. That's like what, 12, 24, 36. 36. That's like 41 months away, bro. 41, 42 months away. And you in 2030, bro. If my mind serves me correct, that's like 41, 42 months away. And you in 2030, when they want to really, take this digital system to the next step, which they're moving faster than that anyway, man. That's why King Charles announced the other day about the digital ID. Keir Starmer announced that started this year. So they're getting you used to that idea. They're getting you more familiar with that term, familiar with that reality. Okay. So it says, the official explanation is that these facilities are needed for cloud computing and artificial intelligence. But according to an insider who works from the underground setting up one of Gates' Manhattan-sized compounds, the reality is far darker than anyone realizes. The whistleblower describes server halls stretching for miles. That is crazy. Packed with systems not just designed to store information, but to monitor and predict human behavior itself. Entire divisions dedicated to real-time population tracking, behavioral modeling, and predictive surveillance. These systems don't just collect data, They are building profiles of entire societies. Are you like, come on, man? Esau literally is masquerading like he's the Most High. Every mobile phone is a tracking device. Every smart appliance is a sensor. Every electric vehicle uploads oceans of movement data. You know, because now you find it. I heard something that cars from like the year 2022 and up here in the UK at least. You know, like when you get in your insurance, you know, you renew your insurance for the year and you're trying to get a quote and stuff. Oh yeah, how many miles do you do? Yeah, I do 6,000 miles. Yeah, I do 8,000 miles a year, whatever. But then apparently there's been certain systems that have been implemented in cars from the year 2022 and above to where the insurance companies can actually get that information from your vehicle. That, oh no, actually, he did 12,000 miles this year. He did 14,000 miles that year, but you trying to say you did 6,000, you do 6,000 a year. So it's like, bro, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. You know, you just a slave, bro. And you going punished for trying to so-called what's the word? Take advantage of the system in somehow, some way. All right. So yeah, you got surveillance cameras, license plates readers, biometric scanners, bank transactions, private messages, search histories, medical records, and facial recognition systems are all fed into centralized AI networks designed to monitor and control every aspect of human activity in real time. So you see, that's him sitting in the seat as God, and we're gonna get that scripture. Look at the next look at the next line as well. And sitting at the center of the surveillance architecture is Palantir, because what Palantir does, from my understanding, is that because you've got this vast amount of information coming in from all over the world, because they're building this globalist system, right? But what the architecture of Palantir does is that it allows you to access that information easier. If that makes sense. It's like you don't have to. It's not like the old school where it's like if you want to get someone's file, you got to go to that room where you got the drawers with all them folders, and then every folder put in alphabetical order. No, you're not gonna have to do that if because you've got all this information. But if you want information on, unless I just put myself out there on I'm Now What Allah, you want to know where I'm Now What Allah is, or how much is in the account, you know. Well, actually, I'm not going to use myself because how forbid, you know, we ain't gonna be taking that MLTB, man. But let's say Joe from across the road, right? You know, you want to find out how much, where his exact location, how many steps he's taken, whether he's done a shit today or not, right? You can lock it in for Joe Swanson. You know, forget all the other billions of whatever of information you've got, vast amount of information. You just want to lock it in on Joel Swanson. The Palantir architecture allows that ease of information to be provided to these elites, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, right? It says the insider says the goal is not to merely watch people, but to create digital replicas of society itself, simulations capable of predicting unrest, identifying dissent, and disabling non-compliant individuals before they even act, which suddenly explains why criticism of the data centers seems to vanish online almost as quickly as it appears. Videos disappear, accounts are being shut down, and they've been doing that with the prophets for how long, man? Discussions get buried because the machine is already protecting itself whilst it's still being built. Oh my goodness. And here's where the globalist future becomes truly terrifying, according to the insider. The elites funding this AI revolution do not believe most human beings are necessary in the future they're creating. We just, maintain a population under 500 million, right? Yuval Noah Harari, which oh my goodness. That man, look, man, you got a special judgment coming for him. I'll say that. The prophet of Davos. Let's see what Davos stands for. So Davos is an alpine town in Switzerland, famous as the host of the annual World Economic Forum meeting. So yeah, as it says here, it's commonly used as a shorthand for this elite invitation-only gathering of global politics, business, and academic leaders held every January to discuss pressing global issues and economic trends. So he's the prophet of that, they're saying. That's jokes. That is jokes. Has been preaching for the globalist death cult for years. And he says some wild shit, man. He really does. Now, BlackRock, Gil Bates, and Palantir are making their move and carrying out the sadistic globalist vision. They are obsessed with depopulating the world to the tune of billions of people. Facts. AI and robotics are rapidly replacing workers across every sector of society. And I already told you, bro, in my organization that I work for, they're promoting the use of these AI systems, namely Copilot for myself. And it's like, I'll be so honest, bro. It's made my job a lot easier. You just put certain prompts in there and boop, gets it done. But then it's to the point where I'm thinking the two, they just need to code it to where the AI kind of prompts itself. It doesn't need a human prompt. And therefore, what's going to be the need for us average Joe corporate workers, man? You see? It says, and once human labor loses value, the ruling class begins to see humanity itself differently, not as citizens, not as communities, but as excess population. That's why the way they're going to solve it is they're just going to delete you. They're just going to place you in that recycling bin, and that's it. No wonder why Palantir founder Peter Thiel can't bring himself to declare allegiance to the human race. So you see, man, it's all going down, man. You know, just scanning through this because I ain't got too much time. If cash disappears, privacy disappears, anonymity disappears. This is where we're heading to now, man. You know. So let's get this. This is yeah, is it? Second Thessalonians 2:1. Man of lawlessness, Esau, right? It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that falling away first came in 70 AD, man. You know, that whole Israelite diaspora. And you know, now we're in the time where the man of sin is being revealed. Is Esau Edom. For a long time, the world thought he was righteous, you know, he couldn't do nothing wrong. Jesus looks like him, but he's being revealed as that man of sin, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, all that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And that's what they're trying to do with this digital infrastructure. Oh, you didn't pay this? Well, now you're not allowed in that part of society. You can't go to the bar. Well, you did this, or we put you to death. Whatever it is, man. He's trying to sit in that seat as God, right? It says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. Okay, he's being revealed now. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. And who's going to take him out of the way? The Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And then shall that wicked be revealed. And he's being revealed now. Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, his prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Revelation 1:7. So, yeah, man. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. This digital ID system, this digital infrastructure, MOTB, is the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And this is what's going to happen to the majority of the people, man, because they're going to have pleasure in unrighteousness. So I don't need my keys. I don't need my wallet. Yeah, I don't need my passport. I just swipe my hand. Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, got through. See that? Convenience is going to destroy niggas, man. Convenience. All right? You need to get used to that. What did Bruce Lee say? Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a hard one, man. You know what I'm saying? Ecclesiastes 9:12. A man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them, when they least expect it. They won't be in that evil time, man. Okay? That's why the Heavenly Father has set his prophets out to do what? 2 Esdras 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. You don't want to believe? Fine. You're going to die in your unfaithfulness. Because the Lord says in the 5th verse, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And he's going to bring that through Esau, the wicked, which is his sword. Right? It says that in the book of Psalms. So here we are, man. You know, this is where we're at with things. All right, we just make the truth plain upon tables, and you know what you decide to do with that information is down to you. Really, it's down to the Lord, man. Because we can't make ourselves the elect. We just pray and hope that we are. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here for this video. I pray, Lord willing, it's edifying. Until the next time, I say shalom. Stay up, stay strong.